coming off a victory over Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. Very worthy opponent, very good football team that we faced on Saturday. We were fortunate to come out with the victory. I thought we got out to a fast start, which was good for us. A lot of people may not know this, but our offensive coordinator brought a ghost from the past out, 27 takeoff, which is a play that Coach Robinson used to run all the time. So that was the first play of the game. So he's still scoring touchdowns today. So we were pleased to get on the board quickly. And then our defense did a tremendous job of really shutting down Jackson State and their passing game and their running game, and even turning them over on several times and scoring 14 points. So very pleased with the outcome. Several guys played well for us. Blaine Winston, transfer defensive tackle, had 5 tackles, two tackles for a loss, 1 quarterback hit, 1 pass deflection. Donovan McCray scooped up the fumble for the touchdown. Arquez Cooper had 8 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble for a touchdown. Malcolm Williams played well. Darius Crispins had 10 tackles. Percy Cargo played well. Joe McWilliams had an interception for a touchdown. Derek Dixon played well. Chad Williams, once again, had 7 receptions for 137 yards. And then Justin Kelly had 14 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown. So we were very, very pleased with our performance as a team. I think, the mark of a team that has a chance to be a successful team is having the ability to win in several different ways. And, this last week I thought we did a really good job of really playing really good defense. And then our offense complemented our defense. In times past, our defense has always complemented our offense. But this time our defense was complemented by our offense, and our offense did a good job of playing keep away, keeping the ball, and having long drives. Even though sometimes it didn't turn into touchdowns, it did get our defense off the field, and it kept their offense off the field, which allowed us to keep the lead. We were very, very close to getting a shutout, and that's something that our defense really loves and aspires to do, and that's their goal every week. And besides a couple of plays, I thought we played lights out as a team in the kicking game, offensively and defensively. So I think we're on the right track, and we just have to continue to focus and do the things that we need to do in order to continue to develop.
I knew going into the game, Coach, that I'm sure the staff knew about Dan Williams,
right,
wide receiver, being a threat. Was there
Absolutely.
any particular game plan that went into particularly stopping him, or was it just a generic game plan?
Basically it was about just playing really good defense. We know who he is. I think defensively our focus was to always know where he was, because they did move him around a bunch. There were times he's to the boundary, to the field, and he's the number 3 receiver inside. So we had to make sure that we did all the right things to make sure that we kept him at bay. But I tell you, that's a good football team. They're a lot better than they've been, and I think you'll see some significant movement in the right direction by that program and that coaching staff.
Coach, overall, when you look at, multiple long defensive touchdowns, not just quick fumble scoops. They were 50, 60 yards, holding them to under 300 yards in the whole game. What kind of confidence can you and the defense as a whole take from that kind of a performance?
Well, a lot of confidence, and our defense has played well all 3 games. If you really look at, what we've done defensively this year, the first game, of course, was a great performance by our defense. Then in week 2, if we don't put our defense in bad situations, I'm not sure if they can really go the length of the field on our defense. You're talking about University of Arizona. And then thirdly, our defense, did a heck of a job again. So they've been consistent. Coach Todd is doing an extremely great job, and Coach Graves and Coach Burrell and Coach Rhodes and all those guys, Coach Ware, they're doing an extremely great job of really putting a really good plan in place so that we can play great defense.
Do you sense a carryover defensively from Arizona when you shut them out basically in the first half and played pretty well? Did you sense that carryover this week?
I think it did give us some confidence, but I think the carryover came from last year. This is year 3 that we're in the scheme, and it takes time for guys to really understand where they're supposed to be. It's a little bit different. It's not a traditional defense, and when you come from a traditional defensive type setting, it's an adjustment. It's a lot of running, it's a lot of blitzing, it's a lot of movement. So you have to be prepared for that. And I think in year 3, you're starting to see, the caliber defense that we can possibly play.
You mentioned a lull in the play for the team. What was that about?
The lull?
Yeah, you said that there was a lull in the offense.
Yeah, I think, when you're playing on television, there's a lot of timeouts and television timeouts and media timeouts, and then you got regular timeouts by us as well. And, offensive football is based on rhythm. And, and I felt that, that we really didn't really get in a rhythm. And every time we tried to establish a rhythm, something happened, whether it was a penalty that set us back or whatever the case may be. So, that doesn't happen normally to our offense. And our coaching staff, offensive staff, Coach Dooley and all those guys, they'll do what we need to do in order to get that tempo and that regain. So I'm pleased with our performance because we moved the ball well, we threw the ball well. It's just, a little bit of rhythm that we were out of, and that happens from time to time.
I can't help but think everybody's pretty excited about getting back here Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's no question. It's a big week for us. Every week is a big week for us, but this is a big week because it's the next week. And, having the opportunity to play at home in front of your home crowd, it's the only show in town, everyone being out of town, it's going to be, a great performance by the Grambling Tigers. Our guys have been, chipping at the bit, to play, and we're looking forward to this particular weekend. You have an opportunity to play against 2-time defending conference champions. And what better way, what better opportunity to have. So we're looking forward to it.
Coach, you mentioned all offseason the goal this year was about finishing the job.
Absolutely.
Coming up short last year against Alcorn State. Is there any kind of revenge factor for you and your guys, at least to be able to, you didn't get them last time, this is the next step in the process, but you get them again this time at home?
When that question is asked, all the time, whether it's high school, college, or in the NFL, you get the old cliche answer, no, but truth of the matter is, yes, and that's just what it is. It's a football game, and I would be saying, for me to say that that's not the case would be that I'm not human, because anytime you get knocked down by anybody, even you guys, you get knocked down by anybody, you chipping at the bit to get back at them, and that's just the honest to God truth. There ain't no lie about it.
Have you seen the progression from game 1 to game 2 to game 2 to game 3 that you're wanting to see from the team?
Absolutely. I think more so the internal factor, the way we play. Week 1, I thought we played well, but it really wasn't a great test for us. Week 2 was a great test for us to put together 4 quarters. And I thought we learned something from that. We didn't lose. We learned from that. And I thought we did a really good job in week 3 of focusing for 4 straight quarters. You could hear guys talking, when we were up, on the sideline, hey, focus up, sit on the bench, listen to coach. When we got into halftime, you could hear the same thing being echoed. So when your kids are saying that, then they understand. So it's just a matter of maintaining it and maintaining the consistency throughout.
What do you think has led to more consistency defensively last couple of years, or the first 2 years? Felt like kind of the defense was high risk, high reward,
Right.
but there's more consistency. What do you think has led to that?
I think it has a lot to do with learning the system. I think it also has a lot to do with practicing a certain way. Because at times in the past it's been like pulling teeth on certain days. But now our kids are really starting to understand that on certain days we're here to work and you have to work regardless, and that's the only way that you develop what you want is to work the same way every day. And on Saturday, it's natural, when you do that. So that's where we are. I'm very, very pleased with our young people because, not only are they doing those things on the field, but they're also doing those things in the classroom. And that's big, when, you have guys to the point where they're motivated to go to class, to do what they need to do in the classroom, as well as doing the same thing on the field.
With what happened last Thursday in the SWAC, what did you learn about this league and the kind of just sheer uncertainty of things where anyone can lose?
I don't think I learned anything about this conference. I've been saying all along that, all these coaches can coach and all these players can play. It's just one of those situations where you got to be prepared to play every night. If you're playing against an enemy you can't take any enemy for granted. That's just the way it is. You have to be ready to play. If you go out there not focused, and if you go out there with the mindset that, it's going to be an easy task, then that's when, strange things happen. So for us, that it's always understanding that, when you're hunting, you got to be prepared, because an injured animal is probably the most dangerous animal, in the wilderness. So we understand that, and we've been preaching that since day one, and that's why I kept saying you'll never see a letdown from our team. Now there will be times, here and there where you want to execute better, but as far as bringing it, I don't think you'll have that problem from us.
Do you think that their loss plays into anything, that they're more hungrier? I don't know how much hungrier you can be after the last couple games series with y'all, but
Right.
think that adds anything to it?
I don't think so. I mean, of course, their coach and their players will be ready to play, and, the Grambling Tigers will be ready to play.
As far as from an execution standpoint, offensively and defensively, going into this Alcorn game, is there anything you can take from the past couple of weeks that you want to focus more on to make sure that that full 4 quarters is complete like you want it?
Well, I think our coaches, will answer that question, and they've answered that question. I think more so is we want to make sure that we get a rhythm offensively and be able to mix the run with the pass like we've done. But then defensively, we want to make sure that we know their strengths and their weaknesses, and try to take away what they do well. We firmly believe if you take away what a team does well and force them to do something else, then they're operating out of character, and that's our job and that's our goal to do that.
What did you think of Devontae out there? Any lingering effects from that injury last week?
Not really. He didn't run as much as we didn't ask him to run as much as we normally would. We're wanting to make sure that we don't create any hiccups in the road. But it's not a problem. He's ready to go. It's a little strained, so he's getting treatment. And he'll be even better this week. So we're expecting him to be as close to 100% as possible, and as well as all of our other guys.
With their coaching change, did you notice much difference between last year and this year, scheme-wise, anything like that?
They are defensively. They're playing a lot more man coverage, which they haven't done in the past. They've mixed it up a bit in the past, but offensively they're a lot similar to what they've been. They had 2 quarterbacks out last week, so that's a tough task for anyone when you don't have your guy out there throwing and running around for you. So, but I know that they'll be ready for us. There's been saying that that they held them out of that contest for us. Well, we don't believe in that. We believe in jumping the hurdle that's in front of us, and we'll worry about the second hurdle next. So, but everyone has their way of doing things. But our kids will be prepared, and that's all we can ask for.
Chad took a pretty good shot in
Yeah.
the corner of the end zone. Was it wind knocked out of him? Or?
Yeah, that's a great story too. Chad is one of the toughest young men that I've ever been around, and he may be argument-wise the best football player that I've ever coached. But he was laying down and he had the wind knocked out of him, and in the middle of laying down, he asked the question, "Did I catch the football?" And we said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, was I in bounds?" We said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, well, let me get up from here." And he's just a tough kid, and he's the type of player that you want all of your players to be like. And he was a freshman when we got here, and the previous staff did a great job of bringing him in, as is a couple other guys that we have on our team, and just a great group of players, man. And we're looking forward to him having even better season than he's had, thus far.
Back to your point, talking about Footman was injured.
Yeah.
What do you need to do differently? I'm assuming if he plays, because I know he had a huge game last year in the SWAC championship.
Yes, he did. I think last year, he did a really good job of running around. He made some throws that he needed to make. They didn't ask him to do a whole lot throwing-wise, but when they did, he did a really good job of completing those passes. He did a good job of controlling the offense last year, and for us, we just have to play the way we're capable of playing. We were out of character in that ball game, so for us, it's about making sure that we are who we are, and playing the game the way that we're capable of playing it. That's what it boils down to. Not to take anything from them because they deserve to win on that particular day. But for us, we have to play better. And I think we are playing better at this particular time.